Alright, so I'll share something. I hope everybody's very well aware that there's a whole lot of experimenting being done on people with 5G technology. You know, don't take my word for it. I say do some deep research. Don't just do surface research because if you're going to be research, it's going to immediately refute it. Call it conspiracies. You know, you need to do research on what some of these corporate entities, governmental and non-governmental, have done. You gotta use your imaginations, and I'm not saying get crazy with it. We're not talking about you know living in a rabbit hole. We're talking about sometimes you gotta use your imagination a little bit. Trying to hear about all these I don't know. People will be going out of control with these things. People talk about people doing baby sacrifices and all this shit. Like, come on, I mean, like, I think people are going to go out of hand with it. I mean, yeah, there might be some crazy people out there doing that, but y'all gotta stop. I mean, be realistic. Be realistic. What is it really referring to? Is it referring to, you know, making you a legally dead entity at 7 years old? Come on. Use your intelligence, people. Fucking come on. It's frustrating. Alright. I don't mean to curse at you. I don't mean to curse. It's just, and it's not any particular person. It's just like the masses are like really taking this bait and running with it. It's like you are thinking it's this black magic stuff, but most people don't even do that kind of stuff. They don't know anything. Like it's so rare if people even know anything about spiritual arts in a way that makes sense. They don't. People don't do it. They don't believe in magic anymore. We're talking about technology. Think about the technology that they have. People are hooked into their cell phones. They're not even thinking. First thing they do, wake up, look in their cell phone. They're researching things all day long that have no contextual reference. They don't take notes on it. It's not actually staying in their minds. They're not internalizing this knowledge. It's just running around doing nothing. Like as long as they have food and they have some shelter over their head and they got a cell phone in their hand, they're good to go. They ain't even questioning nothing. They're gonna believe whatever agenda's pushed over. Bam! Oh, pushed over. Oh, the lines with entertainment. You got hooked your people. We're talking about people that take. And then we got people that take drugs that are like going to these raves and like or listening to this music that has subliminal messaging in it while they're doing drugs and like you have these entertainers promoting these certain agendas. Not necessarily blatantly. Sometimes it is blatant. Sometimes they blatantly back certain politicians. I'm not saying any politicians, and I'm not saying any specific music artists. You're going to have to do your own research on this because I am not getting in that fray. I'm not getting mixed into that. That's not my problem anymore. I'm sorry, it's your problem. I mean, it's the problem of the future, but if you can't see it, then you're really in danger. Because we know that even 4G technology has been weaponized before in military operations. So do your research. 4G. If 4G can be, what can 5G be? It's just like it's a high frequency. It's extremely ungrounding. And if you have high heavy metals in your body, we're talking about people that are private corporations that own the cell phone towers, that own the operations of how these frequencies operate and what kind of things that could be used to make plasma, like shoot plasma balls, or allegedly like watch somebody through the energetic plasma ball because it's connected to an energetic rod connected to the tower. Like this is some we're talking about. This is like the Eye of Sauron. Like it's not magic. Stop thinking it's magic. It's not magic. Stop. Because you might be able to protect yourself with it with some prayers. Maybe if you really, really know what you're doing. Yeah. Most of the time, you don't have time to figure that out. You're too busy working to pay for your house. So you're not gonna have time to figure that out. So you might want to do some things that make sense, like assert yourself and clearly prove that you're a living human entity with a spirit and a body enjoined in one, and clearly state that you know you're not wanting to be experimented on. But you're going to need a nation to do that. So if your nation's a fictitious entity, then no. You can pretty much assume that if your government's a fictitious entity, or if you are a fictitious entity, certainly if you're a fictitious entity, then a fictitious entity doesn't have a real nation, so you have no protection unless it makes sense for the people that own the entity that doesn't really exist except for on paper. But they have a physical life. But since you have it asserted that you have, you know, you are actually anything more than a piece of typing from a computer, which could have been done by an AI bot, then you're probably in a bunch of trouble. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, please just, if you think that this makes absolutely no sense, please take no offense to it. Please do not. Wish everybody well. Think we have enough problems and that it tear ourselves down. We should be working more on building more schools, cleaning the parks, cleaning the forests, cleaning the water, growing natural foods, making music, um, collaborating. Yeah, instead of arguing like a bunch of spoiled brats. Can we get along every once in a while? Yeah, we might have some differences, but I like clean water. You like clean water. You like fresh fruits. Maybe not as much as me, but I don't necessarily like beef too much. You might like chicken. I like chicken. I like to eat food. I like to listen to music. I like to drink a good whiskey every once in a while. Oh, we need a good bar for that. Well, make sure you're tipping your waiters. Make sure you're tipping your bartenders and your taxi drivers. Try to avoid Uber and Lyft as much as you can. They don't have a customer service. They don't have a customer service you can call readily. Why would we even spend money with something like that unless we absolutely have to? Just like anything that doesn't have customer service, like, and they're monetizing off you, like Facebook. It's interesting, but they're monetizing off of you, and they don't have customer service. I'll tell you what that says. They say, "Fuck you, you're stupid. We don't care about you at all because you don't have customer service." Yeah. But they have commercials. They have commercials on your feed, but they don't have customer service. What is that? Why don't we make a new social media platform? I don't know. We could make one. Might have somebody that you could call and be like, "Yes, somebody hacked in my account. I can't get into my account." Be like, "Yes, sir. We don't have to wait 6 weeks. We can get a hold of you right now." Because I've never seen any way you get a hold of them. But maybe I wasn't cool enough. Maybe I don't have strings to pull within the Facebook realm. That's probably what it is. They don't really like me. I'm sorry. Not likable. I get it. Maybe if I like Cardi B or something like that. Whoops. Sorry. Shut my mouth. Oh God. I like Tupac Shakur though. Yeah. How about some Tupac or you know, we think who else? Some Tom Petty. Yeah, I don't think everybody's with him either, but he's got some great music. But not everybody's in that kind of music. Maybe Boosie, but not everybody's in the little Boosie. But a lot of people that are into him are like into him for the wrong reasons. They're like making him out to be like this person that he's really not. Like someone that says they did this because they did it to get by. They needed to pay, do things. Not like they're doing it for the sake of doing it. I don't know. I don't know anything about. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. I didn't sit and read books for years, for just because, No, I just sat in jail and played cards. That's all I did. I just sat in jail and played cards. That's all. That's it. And I stared at the wall all day